The WAQF Bill explained. On April 4, 2025, India's parliament passed the controversial WAQF Amendment Bill 2024. This bill, met with fierce debate, seeks to reshape the administration of WAQF properties, charitable endowments established by Muslims for community benefit. The bill's passage has ignited a firestorm of reactions, with the government championing it as a necessary step toward transparency and accountability, while the opposition condemns it as an assault on the rights of India's Muslim minority. Across India, from the bustling streets of Mumbai to the serene landscapes of Kashmir, WAQF properties play a vital role in the social and religious fabric of Muslim communities. These endowments, ranging from mosques and madrasas to graveyards and orphanages, represent a legacy of philanthropy and community support. The new bill, however, threatens to disrupt this delicate balance, leaving many Muslims apprehensive about the future of their sacred spaces. The heart of the controversy lies in the government's assertion that the current WAQF system is plagued by mismanagement and a lack of transparency. The ruling Bharatiya Janata Party, or BJP, argues that the bill is essential to modernize the WAQF system and ensure that these valuable assets are used for their intended charitable purposes. However, critics view this as a thinly veiled attempt to exert greater control over Muslim institutions and undermine their autonomy. The WAQF Amendment Bill 2024 marks a watershed moment in India's relationship with its Muslim minority. As the legal battle over the bill unfolds, its long-term impact on India's social fabric remains uncertain. One thing is for sure: the fight for the soul of WAQF properties has just begun. The government's narrative revolves around the need for greater transparency and accountability in the management of WAQF properties. They argue that the current system, governed by the WAQF Act of 1995, is riddled with inefficiencies and opaque practices. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, a staunch advocate of the bill, has repeatedly emphasized the need to bring WAQF properties under a more robust regulatory framework. According to the government, the bill aims to streamline the administration of WAQF properties, curb corruption, and ensure that these assets are utilized effectively for the benefit of the Muslim community. They point to instances of alleged irregularities and disputes over WAQF properties as evidence of the need for reform. The bill, they claim, is not an attack on the Muslim community, but rather a necessary step to safeguard their interests. The bill's proponents argue that the proposed changes, such as the establishment of a centralized registration system and the requirement for regular audits, will enhance transparency and make it more difficult for unscrupulous individuals to misuse WAQF funds. They also believe that by empowering the government to play a more active role in the management of WAQF properties, the bill will help to resolve long-standing disputes and ensure that these assets are utilized for their intended charitable purposes. The government's narrative, however, has been met with skepticism from opposition parties and Muslim leaders who view it as a smokescreen for a more sinister agenda. They argue that the bill is part of a larger pattern of attempts by the ruling BJP to marginalize and disenfranchise India's Muslim minority. The debate over the WAQF Amendment Bill 2024 has become a proxy war for the future of secularism and minority rights in India. The opposition, however, sees the WAQF Amendment Bill 2024 as a blatant attack on the Muslim community and a violation of their fundamental rights. They argue that the bill's provisions, far from promoting transparency, are designed to give the government unprecedented control over WAQF properties, effectively stripping Muslims of their autonomy over their religious institutions. One of the most contentious aspects of the bill is the provision that allows for the appointment of non-Muslims to WAQF boards and tribunals. Critics see this as a direct assault on the secular fabric of India, arguing that it sets a dangerous precedent for government interference in religious affairs. The opposition fears that this provision could pave the way for the appointment of individuals with a biased or hostile agenda, further marginalizing the Muslim community. Another major point of contention is the bill's impact on the determination of WAQF property. The new legislation requires valid documentation for WAQF property claims, potentially jeopardizing properties legitimized through oral declarations or customary use, practices prevalent in many parts of India. Critics argue that this provision will disproportionately affect marginalized communities who may not have the necessary paperwork to prove ownership, making them vulnerable to land grabs and dispossession. The opposition's fears are further compounded by the bill's provision that enables judicial intervention in WAQF disputes, replacing the previous system where WAQF tribunal decisions were final. Critics argue that this will only serve to further burden the already overburdened judicial system and could potentially lead to lengthy and costly legal battles, putting Muslim communities at a disadvantage. The passage of the WAQF Amendment Bill, 2024, has ignited a wave of anger and anxiety among India's Muslim community. As the legal battle over the bill unfolds, its long-term impact on India's social fabric remains uncertain. One thing is for sure, the fight for the soul of WAQF properties has just begun. Asaduddin Owaisi, a prominent Muslim leader and member of parliament, has emerged as a vocal critic of the bill, challenging its constitutionality in the Supreme Court. Owaisi argues that the bill is a direct attack on the Muslim community and a violation of their fundamental rights. The legal challenge is expected to be lengthy and complex, with far-reaching implications for the future of religious freedom in India. The WAQF Amendment Bill, 2024, has also sparked protests and demonstrations across India, with Muslim organizations and civil society groups condemning the bill as discriminatory and a threat to communal harmony. The government, however, remains defiant, dismissing the criticism as baseless and politically motivated. The debate over the WAQF bill is not merely a legal or political issue. It is a deeply emotional one that strikes at the heart of India's identity as a secular and pluralistic society. As the legal battle continues, the future of WAQF properties, and indeed the future of India's Muslim community, hangs in the balance. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and like. It only takes a few seconds but goes a long way in boosting our confidence to bring you better content.